Listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.
Welcome back to another astounding episode of the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. I'm Nick. With me, as always, is Anthony the Rook. TJ's on vacation. We've got our intern stat guy, Sal. We'll have a myriad of different guests today. We got 3 guests coming on tonight. It's a huge show. And you know what Tom Jones says? It's not unusual to catch us talking about sports. And here we go. Anthony, how you doing today?
I am doing very, very well. I think we got a great show. I got lots to talk about, so I'm pretty excited about this. So
it's gonna have to come fast and furious. Salvatore, how are you today?
Yeah, Sal, how are you?
Doing good. I'm excited for the show tonight. We got a lot going on tonight.
Yeah, got tons going on.
But
we're gonna start with
we're rocking with the worst. What's up?
Yeah, we're gonna start debate of the week. Just jump from the jump. Just get everyone heated. Oh, Nick is loving this one. So, debate of the week: should Paul O'Neill's number 21 be retired by the New York Yankees? Nick, the floor is yours.
No, flat out no. I mean, the Yankees at this point have 24 numbers retired. 24. Okay. Now, an argument could be made that a franchise with such a storied background and a historical championship winning franchise would have an astounding number of players worthy of having retired numbers. And for the most part, that's true. The only problem I have is if you actually look up the New York Yankees and the numbers that they have retired up until George Steinbrenner bought the team, it was a very select few people that were honored. It was never a fan favorite. It was legitimately somebody that throughout baseball could be identified as a Yankee. If that makes sense. You know, like when you heard the word baseball, you thought of that person and they were wearing a Yankees uniform. Not necessarily like you're a baseball fan, you hear the name and you know he played for the Yankees, but like you thought of baseball, that person's face appeared in your head, and by connection and correlation, the Yankees ensued. For instance, Babe Ruth. When you think baseball, you think Babe Ruth, he's a Yankee. When you think baseball, you think Joe D. He's a Yankee. When you think baseball, you think Mickey Mantle. He's a Yankee. It really wasn't guys that were like, oh, we really like that guy, you know? And honestly, I think a lot of Yankee fans bullied the Yankees into doing this. And I think Paul O'Neill's an astounding player. I really appreciate what he brought to the table as a Yankee. But do I think he belongs in left field with Babe, Reggie, Maris? Do you know what those 3 guys have that Paul O'Neill doesn't?
They're on the Hall of Fame.
That's not true. Reggie,
Roger Maris. But, I mean,
they're all former MVPs.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Well, Paul O'Neill did win the batting title one year.
Yeah, it's great.
He won in 90. He won in 94.
Jose Reyes has a batting title too. His number ain't getting retired by anybody. But let's go over the numbers real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. That's right. I said 8 twice. 10, 15, 16, 20, 23, 32, 37, 42, 42. That's right. 42 twice. 44, 46, 49, and 51. Of all of those, and soon to be 21. That'll be 24 numbers. Of those 24 people, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10
This is like
MVPs
Mike Francesa.
with 10 MVPs with the Yankees, 11 overall, because Reggie Jackson won an MVP with the A's prior to getting to the Yankees, okay? And the remaining guys, there's 2 Cy Young Award winners. Yet somehow they have 24 numbers retired. some of these Yankees do not match the others. And I'll let you know the ones I don't think should have their numbers retired. Billy Martin shouldn't have anything retired. Billy Martin's number got retired because George Steinbrenner felt bad about firing him 2,000 times, and then he died. So as a mea culpa, I loved you, Billy. They retired his number. But ultimately, Billy Martin was not that great of a manager. Everybody goes, well, you won us 2 World Series. I could have won the World Series with those teams that had fucking former MVPs and Cy Young Award winners on it. I could have. Like 77 and 78, I could have won those World Series. Look at those teams. They're stacked. All right? Yeah. Derek Jeter obviously never won an MVP, but he's in the Hall of fucking Fame. Get his number retired. 100%.
Are you gonna go through each player you don't agree with?
It's the ones I don't think should. So I just saw Jeter was next because I didn't want to say, oh, if they're in the Hall of Fame, they only the Hall of Famers or only the MVPs should have their number retired. I didn't want to say that, but no manager should even wear a number, let alone have their number retired. So 6th and 37 retired. 6 and 37 shouldn't be retired because the manager doesn't even need to wear a uniform. Really, like why does he have a uniform on? This isn't 1902 when the manager was still a player. We don't have any Paul Newmans out there playing as a player coach anymore. Hasn't happened since like Joe Torre with the Cardinals or with the Mets in like 68 or something like that. Yeah. So that's ridiculous. Yeah. And honestly, like 4 of the last 6 numbers retired should not have been retired.
I agree with you on that one.
I love Bernie Williams. You guys know me. Bernie Williams is my favorite player.
I know. I agree with you on Bernie too.
Next to Mickey and DiMaggio. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, let's hear from TJ since we got him. TJ, what do you feel about the poll? And I think all of us have the same sentiment. I don't know about you, Sal, but TJ, go.
I might be on the other side.
All right, so TJ, go. Then we'll have the opposite side of it.
I'm with Nick. I think it's a joke. I think nostalgia shouldn't dictate retiring a guy's number just because he meant so much to the team, back when they were dominating. I mean, are you going to retire everybody's number then? I guess Tino Martinez is next. I mean, you can't retire anybody that's ever meant something to the team. We're all going to have those players that are like, oh, he's a fan favorite. He's a fan favorite. I mean, it's about stats and winning championships. And while Paul O'Neill is a great player, I don't think that I mean, come on, we're going to be in triple digits soon. Well, people are going to be playing 101, 102, come on. I get it. You want to honor the guy. You want to have Paul O'Neill night, have Paul O'Neill night. But 20 years later, but I'm just saying, 20 years later, it's essentially a PR stunt. I mean, the Mets are making moves in the offseason, with the little offseason that we had. The Yankees are sitting there stagnant. I'm not saying they have to make moves. I think they should make a few moves, but there's no buzz around the Yankees. So, hey, let's generate some buzz and bring back somebody from 20 years ago, a fan favorite, and honor him and retire his jersey and build up a little buzz that way. I think it's dumb.
So I said my first statement was when you retire somebody's number, it should be somebody who is synonymous with baseball and then by extension, the Yankees. For instance, if you think of baseball, you think of Derek Jeter, who happens to also be a Yankee. So you retire his number. Mickey Mantle, same deal. You think of baseball, you think of Mickey Mantle. If Mike Trout was on the Yankees right now, retire Mike Trout's number. He's synonymous with baseball. And if Aaron Judge stays as prolific as he is and healthy and he wins the championship maybe with the Yankees, in 10 years, retire his number too. But right now, like if you ask anybody that's not a New Yorker who Paul O'Neill is, they'd be like, I'm not sure. Like there's a scene in Friends where that one he's trying on tuxedos and she goes, that one belonged to Paul O'Neill. And he goes, who's that?
Right.
And that's a joke, but it's not really a joke. He's not Derek Jeter.
So let's hear from the opposite side of this then. Because Sal, I'm not going to put an argument here because I agree with TJ and Nick, so I'm not even going to give any more points. So Sal, here's the opposite. Why should we retire Paul O'Neill number 21?
No, I agree with you guys. I think there is a lot of numbers retire, maybe too many. But I just Paul O'Neill was an important part in that night on those 90s teams. I mean, he's one of my personal favorite Yankees, and I never even got to see him play. So
I was going to say,
it shows
how old are you again?
23, but it shows you the impact that he had on the Yankees and the Yankees fans and the fan base. He's so beloved that even people that didn't get a chance to see him play want to see his number retired. And like somebody like me, like I put him on my like top 5 personal favorite Yankees. So I get what you're saying. There's too many numbers retired, but I'm cool with it. I don't have a problem with it.
I just think it diminishes the value of what it means.
100%. There's too many fan favorites. That's like the Mets saying, "All right, we're going to retire Bartolo Colon's number because for a long time he was the only solid player there, and he brought fans to the stands." And hey, remember that fat guy home run?
I mean, O'Neill did win 4 titles, and maybe we should have won 5.
Teams win titles.
The team won.
The team won.
O'Neill's not winning that by himself.
He was an important part of that. Big part of that.
O'Neill is on par.
Okay, so if I asked you if you were going to remove somebody from the team and I gave you a list of players, well, Paul O'Neill or Mariano Rivera, who do you think's bringing them to the championship more?
No, obviously Rivera.
We could do this down the entire lineup. Paul O'Neill isn't the difference in those championships.
Jeff Nelson and Mike Stanton were fucking incredible.
He was the warrior, though.
I'm not trying to talk shit about Paul O'Neill, but I'm not saying it's not warranted for the type of player that he was. He played the game hard, he played the game right. But it's just, if you're going to do it for him, there's going to be more and more play. Every team has a Paul O'Neill, a fan favorite, somebody that grinds it out, and you don't see other teams doing this. There's retiring numbers left and right. Oh, fan favorite was there for the good times, so let's retire. I mean, everybody on that team was an integral part of each championship. You can make an argument either way.
Yeah, I agree.
I think O'Neill's like Bobby Mercer, Willie Randolph, Greg Nettles. They're iconic Yankees. They're Yankees through and through. Bobby Mercer especially was a huge, like, he was a Yankee, like a Yankee, like to the point where he was even an announcer. And I remember growing up listening to Bobby Mercer, rest in peace.
Yeah,
and I loved listening to him talk about baseball. But should his number be retired next to Babe Ruth? No. And I love Bobby Mercer as a talent and as a personality, what he means to the Yankees. Same thing with Willie Randolph. Willie Randolph was the captain of the Yankees. Granted, he didn't win any World Series, but neither did Don Mattingly. But Willie Randolph did win a World Series as a coach with the Yankees on those 90s teams, and yet his number is not retired. And then we look at somebody like Dave Winfield, who's in the Hall of Fame, played 10 years with the Yankees, made like 8 All-Star games with 5 Gold Gloves and 4 Silver Sluggers, and his number is not retired. So ultimately,
how many championships did he win?
10 years and you're liked by the management, they retire your number. So whose number are we retiring next? Matsui? Gardner?
What I want to do, because I'll wrap this up soon, but basically it's just, he got a plaque night. I think that's great. If you want to honor him. I think he's a great player. He's part of those championships. You could honor him. Retirement, I think, goes too far. You diminish the value of a retired number to the point where it's like, all right, you get a number retired by the Yankees. It's like, all right. But he's not on the level of Ruth, Maris, Mantle, DiMaggio, Gehrig.
Yeah, but nobody has been since then, though, other than maybe Jeter.
No, I get that. But Paul O'Neill, I get he was part of the team. He was loved by Steinbrenner, but I don't think
hold on. A-Rod is up there. He has 2 MVPs for the Yankees.
Yeah, and he's not going to have his number retired. He's not probably going to.
You know who the previous Yankees to have 2 MVPs were? 2 guys. You might have heard of them, Maris and Mantle. They were the last 2 Yankees to get multiple MVPs while playing for the Yankees.
All right, so I think because we had a big show. I don't want to keep going on this too
long.
Let's
go.
I'm going to bring in our first guest here. Sal, we're going to say goodbye to you. We'll see you in a little bit. Be behind the scenes. And we welcome Andrew from the Divots and Pivots. And he put it in the chat, but go ahead. What were you say about Paul O'Neill?
Paul O'Neill was never a top 4 player responsible for any of those titles, which means I have a hard time saying he was an integral part of the title teams. He had his role, but can you say he was one of the top 4 driving forces? I don't think so.
And what do you? I don't know your affiliation for fanhood, but who's your
Boston all the way?
So you're a Boston Red Sox fan, and even you agree with us that Paul O'Neill shouldn't be retired.
I agree, because the way I look at it, it's kind of like the Celtics. The Celtics also is an organization that retires everybody's number from over the years.
Yeah,
where there's so many guys up there that don't belong up there next to some of the greats, and it's just too much. I think all the Hall of Fames, I think they're all a joke now. They let everybody in. I'm a big fan of small hall. I think all the Hall of Fames and all the numbers getting retired is just taking away from the history of all of those, institutions.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's laughable, like Nick said, when you got people being honored next to Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Mickey Mantle. You know, you're hanging jerseys in the rafters next to Larry Bird, and these guys don't stack up next to Larry Bird. So what are you doing? You're diminishing the honor.
You know, Whitey Ford said there should only be 4 numbers retired by the Yankees: 3, 4, 6, and 7. 3, 4, 5, and 7.
I agree.
And nobody can argue that.
And Whitey Ford's number is retired, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't deserve that crap. I was nothing compared to those guys." Think about that.
Like the whole thing is you want to put a standard out there, and that standard is greatness, just like generational greatness. Like you're not going to see this again.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm sick of the era greatness.
Yeah, and the reason why we have Andrew on today, because we thought TJ was giving a cruise, so you weren't sure, but we welcome
I am on a cruise.
Join us. We're doing some PGA talk. So we got the Honda Classic this week. We're going to discuss a little bit about Phil Mickelson, the drama that's going on with him, and the Super Saudi League. So I think I have a couple notes just to reiterate or to show what those statements were. So he said, Saudis are scary motherfuckers. Go be involved with. And questions the country, and he questioned the country's human rights record in an interview recently with Adam Shipnuck for a book. And he said, however, despite that, the money from the proposed Saudi League was a once-in-a-life opportunity to reshape the PGA Tour and how it operates. He said they've been able to get by with manipulative, coercive, strong-arm tactics because we, the players, had no recourse. He said, as nice as the guy the commissioner is, he comes across, unless you have leverage, he won't do what you said. And the Saudi money is finally going to give the players that leverage to then have upper hand or to make some sort of movement to improve the PGA Tour. So he issued that apology, which a lot of people didn't really like. He said he was off the record when he spoke to Alan Shipnuck, but Alan then recently said it was all false. It was on the record. So I guess we'll start with our guest here, Andrew. What are your feeling about Phil Mickelson right now?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that conversation was off the record. I don't think Alan, who was writing a book, who knows what he's doing, ever would have allowed that to be off the record and then still publish it. Like it doesn't make sense. I think Phil's trying to cover his ass there. I think Phil needed to take the route that a lot of the other current players, I should say current because he's in the Champions Tour, but the bigger name players right now took, where they're saying the smart, simple things in the news, and then they're just showing their support on the course or in the media or just by simply being there. And Phil, like he always does when there's money involved, he puts his foot in his mouth and he talks too much. And the man's addicted to money. The man's addicted to gambling. So for him to say that he was using it as leverage against the PGA, like that might be the case, but good God, like who said that out loud? Like, okay, you just gave away your leverage. Like, if that's how you felt, like just keep it behind closed doors. Like, it just makes no sense to me what he was doing. I think I don't know. It seems like he wanted a bit of spotlight.
All right, TJ, how do you feel about it?
I think that Phil Mickelson always seems to be on the hating end of it because the type of guy he is. He does gamble a lot. He does flaunt his money around. He's about making money. They gave him shit when he said he was moving out of California because he couldn't stand paying the taxes. And then all of a sudden, apparently every PGA fan in the world was for taxes. I mean, the guy gets shit on constantly. I agree that some things are better left unsaid. And why would you tip your hand? It makes no sense. But at the same time, when you have NBA players taking support from China and talking about playing in the China League, and their Nikes come from sweatshops, and they want to talk about, the United States is the worst when it comes to this social issue and this social issue, yet they're wearing sneakers made by 6-year-olds in a sweatshop. Nobody attacks them for that. Or the people that do attack them for that are on the fringe, and they're just, you guys are nuts. Who cares? Nikes are great. So I think Phil Mickelson was definitely talking on the record. You don't talk to reporters or writers or anything like that unless you expect it to get published. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this guy's his best friend where it's like, hey, listen, we're off the record right now. I just want to vent. That's not the person you vent to.
It was a phone interview, too. It's not like they ran into each other and just started chatting.
Right.
Like, by the way, like, it was scheduled.
Right. I mean, listen, he says what he wants to say. He wanted to say it. He wanted it out there. And the backlash, happened, and he did the political PR. Let me put the apology out there. But, I mean, while I agree with some stuff and I don't agree with most stuff. I mean, I agree that It sucks that, he had to pay when they had the match, he had to pay the PGA Tour $1 million to be able to have the match. I think that's a joke. But at the same time, while you're sitting there saying, well, I don't have the right to make money off my brand and stuff like this, it's like, dude, you're rich because you play a sport. And the only reason you're that rich is because the PGA brought in all these sponsors who pay an exorbitant amount of money to watch you play golf. I mean, and golf, when you think about it, isn't one of those sports that it's not hockey, it's not baseball, it's not basketball, it's not football. So, I mean, I consider PGA Tour players lucky to get the money that they're making right now. So,
yeah, I will say Phil Mickelson, when I heard that he would do the Saudi League, I'm like, I'm not surprised. The guy loves money, loves gambling.
Yeah,
so
listen, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? If you're going to play the Saudi League, you don't have to justify it to anybody.
No, you don't. Take the
money. You know what I mean? Dude, you're making money. I don't sit here and look down on strippers. They got to make a living too.
That's a good point.
We know where that money comes from.
Nick, do you have anything on this? You want to add?
Yeah, just two things. One, degenerate gamblers. I can see how you two can identify. And I lived in Saudi for a year. I didn't come across any Saudis that seemed to be bad people. I understand that there's some humanitarian problems there. It's honestly, it's a different world entirely. We talked about this briefly last time. Their Prince Sultan is he's kind of screwed. Honestly, he's stuck between two worlds. One where they only understand violence and like murder and stuff like that, and another where he's trying to be a part of the 21st century with the rest of the planet, but they don't respect that. So it's hard to be 33 years old and having your relatives plot your murder on a regular basis and run a country that's going to run out of money in 15 years. So I wouldn't trade places with that kid. That kid, he must be miserable for all I know. So having lived in Saudi Arabia for a year, I never came across a Saudi that was a bad dude. So. But
let's feel bad for the Sultan. Let's feel bad for him with all his money and oil and gold.
Listen, I know nobody's trying to kill me right now. His own uncles were plotting his death. Okay, I love my uncle. He's one of my best friends.
How does he feel about you, though?
Being the Prince Sultan.
We're thick as thieves, man. Come on.
Being the Prince Sultan have something in common because TJ's plotting my murder as well.
Watch yourself. You're lucky
actually, look, I wore the shirt you bought me because I missed you so much, buddy.
I wore mine too because I missed you too.
We did miss you.
I wore my Barstool shirt.
We don't work for those guys, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I know. One day, after Rook fires me.
I will say that, we asked Andrew what his team was. He said the Red Sox, and as he continued to talk, and I heard Pa and Hot, I was like, oh, he's definitely a Red Sox.
Oh yeah,
Northern
bred.
I heard Haas. I was like, horse.
All right, Andrew,
Haas.
We're just about wrapping up the PJ talk. We appreciate you joining us today. Tell us where you're at. That's correct, right?
Yeah, right there. That's correct. You can find the show Twitter at Divots and Pivots. You can find my own personal Twitter at Real Mr. Mallard. You can catch the show on Belly Up Sports TV on Tiki Live every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. I have guests. We talk DFS, mainly DraftKings, but we also just talk general PGA golf stories. We like to attack it from a human side. So check us out, YouTube, Twitter, Tiki Live. I'm there for you. There it is, right there. There's the banner.
And there's this logo there, Divots and Pivots. Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Anytime. And TJ, you're hanging around? You're leaving?
No, I'm out of here. I got to go do some drinking.
That's a smart win right there.
All right, TJ.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
We're going to do a quick break, and then when we come back, we have Hailee joining us for some legal talk. So hang with us.
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. That means we give the people what they want. Expert fantasy advice, leading medical and legal analysis, free contests, and innovative games to keep you entertained. Watch us live with the Tiki Live app on the Belly Up Sports channel, subscribe to us on YouTube, or follow us on all social media platforms. Visit TSSFantasy.com today for all the latest updates from the fantasy show of the people. We put the fun in fantasy.
Yeah! I use mayo over sour cream, yeah.
Right. That's because you have high cholesterol. Okay. If you drafted Julio Jones,
you got ghosted.
This is amazing. TSS Fantasy is like an orgasm. If I had a cigarette, I'd smoke it. I'm pumped to be here. This is the show of shows.
TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
All right, we're back, and we are bringing on Hailee right now. I have her thing there. Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button. Hailee, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. How are y'all?
We're good. I love it. You said y'all. That's
I was going to say, I did a little fist pump. I was hoping to hear
I was hoping for a y'all. I love it. I love it. We are actually going to Nashville next week. So we talked to Hailee. She gave us some recommendations of places. Now, these places you've been to, or you just gave us random places?
Some of them I had to ask my friends about. I'm not like a beer connoisseur. I tailgate. I love Tailgate Brewery. I'll be there this Friday for like a big Preds tailgate, which is going to be really fun. And I think I gave you guys Old Smoky. Old Smoky is my favorite, my absolute favorite.
The 6 in Peabody, right? Is that it?
Yep, doing like whiskey and moonshine tastings. Yes, that is my favorite.
Perfect. Then we will. Oh, this is a weird comment we got. Gonna ignore that one. Anyway, so Hailee, we're bringing you on today. Are we able to meet up next week to go do some sort of beer tasting and whiskey tasting?
Absolutely.
You gonna be around? All right, we'll try to do something with you regarding that because we do another show. We kind of do we do beer tasting, whiskey tasting. We check out bars. So we love to do some sort of work with you. Regarding that. So, but the reason why we have you here is because I know you're a law student. So where do you go to law school? I don't know if you want to say it, but
yeah, I go to Belmont Law. It's in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nice. Are you originally from Nashville?
No, I'm actually from Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. Okay, so your baseball team is Detroit Tigers then? Is that?
Yes, I'm a Tigers fan.
Well, she's a Browns fan, which is weird.
You're a Browns fan too? Oh yeah, I just realized. Yeah, you were drinking from that cup. Yeah. Nice. So
what's in that cup?
Water. I have homework to do after this, so we've got.
And I was gonna say we appreciate it. I know how it is to be a law student. I'm a lawyer myself. I feel like the guy from TMZ. I'm a lawyer. But,
I'm a lawyer.
I appreciate taking out the time to study and come join us here. So let's get into. We don't want to take too much of your time. So first things first is I don't know if you saw the Deshaun Watson news recently.
Yes. I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised by it too. So for anyone who's wondering what we're talking about is that Deshaun Watson obviously has these 22 civil cases for the sexual assault. And recently this week, the judge ordered that he, out of 9 of the 22 cases, he's going to have to testify at depositions to regarding the case, basically. And some of the reasons why is pretty much is that the 9 cases at 22, those women are not involved criminally. They already gave their own depositions. And apparently, I guess the Harris County District Attorney said he's set to make a decision regarding charges of Deshaun Watson by April 1st. So, Hailee, I don't know if you what your aspect is on this, if it was something shocking, not shocking. What do you think?
No, I wasn't shocked. I mean, obviously we knew he was going to have to provide some sort of testimony for these civil cases, right? I do get where his defense is coming from. I mean, obviously, Fifth Amendment, pretty important, but I see also the judge's ideas where this testimony won't necessarily affect these criminal charges because it's not the survivors that are pressing criminal charges. So I get it. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked. Yeah.
Also, the thing is, too, I guess with what's going to happen to me, he's going to go to the depositions. He's going to say, I'm going to plead the Fifth. Like, it's not really much, testimony that could be going on.
Right.
So, but I think we both agree on that. I know, Nick, I don't know if you want to chime in here with some legal talk, but
if I learned anything from Michael Corleone, you don't plead the Fifth. You just lie. It makes you look better. When you plead the Fifth, you're guilty. Everybody knows that.
I do not endorse that.
Yeah,
if you're not guilty, then why are you pleading the Fifth? I plead the Fifth. I would like to excuse my Fifth Amendment right on the grounds that my testimony may incriminate me. That means you're guilty.
Well, may incriminate you. May is the key word there.
Guilt. Listen, a guilt-free mind doesn't have no room for none of that. All right. I learned that from Joe Bennett in Tallahassee, Florida.
I love that you quoted The Godfather to your legal analysis of this at this point.
Listen,
That's great.
Listen. Actually, no, I didn't quote the Godfather. It was a book I read. I don't remember whose book, but the guy was like, I had a note from my lawyer on how to elect to plead the fifth. And every time they asked me a question, I just read the note. A Man of Honor, Joe Bonanno's book. He pled the fifth like 67 times. He was not guilty as well.
Well, you're innocent until proven guilty. So nobody was guilty if they were not. And also, we always
opinion.
We go over this every week. I always have to say allegedly anytime Nick makes an accusation like that just to protect us. But
listen, Kevin Sullivan killed the Benoits.
Yeah, allegedly.
We'll ask Matt when he comes on the show. All right,
we will. Matt would probably agree with you.
Real quick, while we're on football, I hate to just segue real quick. Quick update. I spoke with our friend John Lawrence, who's fighting esophageal cancer, and I said it right this week.
Yeah.
I spoke with him today. He's saying that his doctor said that he made some progress with his chemotherapy, and he actually just finished putting together his Star Trek the Next Generation uniform that he's been working on. He said for 14 years, and we're rooting for you, John. You're in our thoughts, you're in our prayers, and get better soon, buddy.
Yeah, John's he's now a listener from the UK.
There it is.
But yeah, good luck, John. That's great to hear. Best luck with everything. So I guess moving on from this, we won't go to the federal subsidies yet because I think it's kind of more long-winded and kind of a long topic. But the Eric K verdict. So we had gone through this last week. So you're familiar with the case of Eric K?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been following along with it. So he obviously they found him guilty. I mean, after all the testimony that we heard last week, it seemed like it was leading that way.
Yeah,
the jury deliberation was only less than an hour and a half.
Less than an hour and a half.
Yeah, so it was pretty quick. They found them guilty of distribution of a controlled substance resulting in death, and then conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute controlled substances. And then his sentencing has been set for June 28th, and he's facing 20 years to life in federal prison. So that's the update on that one. I guess what's your perspective on this? I know I went through the whole thing thoroughly last week, but I want to hear what your perspective was on this one.
Yeah, so I think the jury got it right. I mean, the testimony the evidence was there was just a plethora of evidence. I mean, the text messages, not surprised, not upset, waiting for sentencing. I think these types of cases and these types of verdicts are important, especially now because we have such an opioid crisis that people do need to start being held accountable. And typical case,
Yeah, and I think with this one too is the fact that yes, Tyler Skaggs is someone who is using, he acts with oxycodone, but I mean, when it comes to, I guess that it was laced with fentanyl, which is not something that he was typically that he wanted to do. And I think before they had said that he even said that he said, I don't want to do any fentanyl. So for Kay to go ahead and still give this, and I think the most damning evidence of all this was the assistant had said that apparently Kay confided with him afterward and said, I was with Tyler that night that he passed, the week before he passed away, which is pretty damning. And then also the evidence from Matt Harvey, which was the difference in the pills that he's like, I gave him pink pills, which are Percocets. I never gave him oxycodone. So I think I agree with you there. I mean, so far 2 for 2 and not shocking surprises from juries and judges. Nick, I know I saw you shake your head for a second. So what?
I shook my head because you said oxycodone and then changed it to oxycodone. Those are 2 different drugs.
I know. I keep mispronouncing it. You know me. It's last names and it's prescription drugs. I keep messing up the names of them.
No, with the Eric K thing. I think it's a good determination overall because it's a deterrent toward dealing drugs. If I can hold you liable for the death of another, if I can prove that you're the one that provided them with the illegal substance, well, then that's one more reason not to do that, not to deal drugs. I mean, it's a very sad story. The whole thing is sad, and people who are like drug dealers, things like that, you're a bit of a predator. You see somebody that has a weakness and you're taking advantage of them. And in this instance, it resulted in the death of a young man. And That sucks. That's, I mean, obviously he has accountability, or he had accountability before he died. I mean, nobody's sitting there holding him down and forcing him to do anything. But at the same time, as a human being, you should take accountability. If you know you're hurting somebody, you shouldn't just be okay with that because you're making money. I mean, I guess that's easier said than done, but I mean, that's true. It's just, I guess, how I feel about it. Maybe I'm looking through rose-colored lenses and too altruistic for my own good. But I mean, just because you're making money doesn't mean what you're doing is good.
And I think that's what blinds people, right? It's the greed. Like, I'm going to make this money, and if I can make these pills cost less, but I sell them for more, who cares what's in them? Not me. I'm not taking them, right?
Right.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing is he's not taking them. So why would you?
Right.
Yeah. That's a good, excellent point. And I think the worst of it is
I had a problem with it was a lot of people commending Matt Harvey like he did something nice. Matt Harvey only testified because they gave him immunity.
Yeah,
so it wasn't about doing the right thing. It was about doing what was convenient.
And not even that, he wasn't. And not only was he granted immunity, he was compelled to testify, which means he was almost like subpoenaed. He's subpoenaed basically,
right?
And he has to appear.
So yeah, a lot of people give him kudos for his testimony, and they're all sitting there saying sob stories for Matt Harvey. Like, I don't feel bad for Matt Harvey. I don't feel bad for him at all. I really don't.
Yeah, I got you. Anyway, so moving on to the next topic, which is the federal subsidies. So 3 members of Congress this week: Jackie Spire, Don Beyer, and Earl. This is the last name I can't pronounce it, but Earl Blumenauer brought in this no tax subsidies for stadium act. So, Hailee, are you familiar with this or?
Yeah. So the only reason why I mean, obviously I knew how stadiums are funded, but I didn't know that they were tax exempt until this kind of hit today. I was like, oh, interesting. And then I, read up on it and I'm like, this is kind of fun. This is kind of fun.
Yeah. It is, and it's funny because the whole thing, the reason we brought about it is basically the federal government right now is investigating into Dan Snyder with the Commanders because he wants more money to build a stadium in 2027 because I think their lease is up at that point for the new Commander Stadium. And there's just been a history of sexual harassment, sexual assault against him, and then he's still getting the benefit of these federal tax subsidies. Based upon as long as they get the municipal bonds from a city. Who's trying to woo you to come into their city and bring, more tourism, more dollars. They'll give you these municipal bonds to build your stadiums, and then you get exemptions on that money. So basically because of him, they're really saying that, these shouldn't be a reward for these type of organizations that run with, racial discrimination, sexual discrimination, and sexual assault. So and what's your take on that one, Hailee?
You know what? I agree. If you can't play by the rules, why are you going to be benefited by the rules, right? Like, I think that it's gotten to a point where the NFL, and I guess really any big professional sports organization, I think they're comfortable. They're comfortable with doing the bare minimum, and I think that they're comfortable with knowing that they're able to get away with a lot. And if this is just something that's going to kind of act as some sort of deterrent, I think I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. So before I get to you, Nick, because I saw you made a face, but so my thought on this is that I don't think it's going to pass, even though it seems like a good idea in, looking at the paperwork or looking at the legislation. But the reason why I don't think it is because it's kind of punishing all sports, whereas maybe, baseball may not have the same issue. So reason also they're doing this is the federal government lost $4.3 billion in revenue because of these tax exemptions based on the 43 stadiums built since 2000. So it's been 43 stadiums built. They all use municipal bonds. They'll get the tax exempts. And these 43 stadiums are not all NFL stadiums. Some of them are MLB stadiums. Some of them are acting, accordingly. They're not, not all they'll be accused of sexual assault or sexual harassment. So for me, I don't think it's going to pass. If maybe the legislation said something whereas if you commit these acts or you commit this discrimination, then you're going to lose your federal exemption. I think that would be something that's probably more likely to pass. And not to mention, you're going after billion-dollar owners.
Right.
They have plenty of friends in government. And I don't think they're really going to be I'm sure they're going to be stuffing some more pockets to make sure that legislation doesn't get passed. So that's kind of my thought on it.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, but in theory, obviously it's a good, as you said, it's a good thing because in theory it has them be accountable because now they're going to lose money. So We'll go over to Nick. I know I'm sure you shake your head at one point.
I was actually in agreement with you. Obviously, with the Redskins football team commanders, whatever they want to call themselves this week, have been accused of is not okay. But I don't believe that the entirety of all sports should be punished for the actions of the minority. Of course, the minority is always louder than everybody else, right? The one bad kid in school is known by the principal. The principal doesn't know the good kids that are just like average students that don't cause trouble. I think we're also forgetting the fact that these stadiums bring millions upon millions of dollars to the city for other programs and employment to a lot of people that are employed by that stadium. Like, just let's look at our community, for instance, in Staten Island. The fact that there is no Staten Island Yankees, how many people lost their jobs?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so the stadium being there, while it may not mean much to some, and it may mean too much to one individual who profiteers off of the entire situation, it means a lot to a lot of little people. Let's look at Yankee Stadium, right? Let's say Yankee Stadium is not where it is. Then we don't have places like Stan's Bar, Billy's Bar, all the restaurants and clubs nearby. They're not making that income, because why would I go there? I only go to Stan's and Billy's because they're next to Yankee Stadium. Not to mention the hundreds upon hundreds of people that work at the stadium. Not to mention the other venues, like the other situations that go on in these arenas and in these stadiums. And I do feel like if they do pass that law, it's punishing everybody. It's basically cutting off your nose to spite your face. You're mad at Dan Snyder, so you're going to punish everybody. And now you didn't even hurt Dan Snyder. He'll find another way to get it done.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
fans and the people that work there.
At the same time, it's just eliminating the tax exemption, right? So these billion-dollar corporations and businesses can afford to pay their taxes. Pay your taxes. That's it.
Oh, they won't, though. You don't get money by paying taxes. You get money by hiring lawyers to find out ways to not pay your taxes.
Well, hire better lawyers.
Matt O'Day says he got kicked out of stands once. I can't blame them. I'd have kicked him out.
We'll have to talk to him about that one. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think what it is too, I mean, they're still going to get the money from the municipal. They're still going to get money from the states, the cities to come in. They still get tax exemptions there. I mean, it's not like the worst thing. I guess obviously they lost $4.3 billion. If you count 43 stadiums, that's $1 million each stadium. So I'm sorry, more than that, $100 million each stadium. So,
the other math you got to look at is how much money did they make once the new stadium was built, and how much money did they pay on taxes on that?
No, you're right. I mean, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, Nick. Obviously, the stadium comes to a town. There's a lot of positive things that happen for revenue, money, jobs, employment. They're all going to helps out, but which is why teams want these stadiums. Why do you think Las Vegas now has three with WNBA, 3 professional teams playing in their city now?
So I agree with you. But I do like the idea of, well, punish the people that are where applicable. You know, if you violate Title IX, you get punished. They don't punish every sport and every team in college or high school. They punish the culprit, which I think is appropriate. And Title IX is a federal law. So something along those lines I think would be more appropriate for that scenario. But if I know rich people, and I think I do, they'll find a way to beat the system. They always do. They didn't get rich by not beating the system, by playing by the rules.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. So those are the 3 law topics that we have for sports. Unless, Hailee, do you have anything else? Last words here?
Go Browns.
Go.
Real quick before you go, Hailee, just tell us something about what you're on Belly Up now. You're new to Belly Up.
Right.
Tell us what you do. Tell us what you bring to the table. Where can we find you? What do you do?
You can find me at the Hailee Murphy everywhere, all social media platforms. Basically, I'm just trying to bring sports law to sports fans. I feel like it's something that a lot of fans don't know and don't have a good concept or grasp on. And I think it's important because lawyers play a key part in a lot of things behind the scenes in sports. And I think it's really interesting and I think it's really fun. And I kind of am trying to put like a fun spin on something that I feel like people usually think is really boring, right? But I don't know. I'm just trying to get people excited about the law.
Yeah. So what mediums can we find you on?
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of them.
And you're a writer for Belly Up?
Writer for Belly Up, yep.
All right.
Actually,
Jerry Maguire is a movie about a lawyer who becomes an agent. Yeah. And he becomes best friends with his client.
Yeah, best friends. Oh, he does become best friends. That's his client. I forgot Renee Zellweger is not his client. Never mind.
No.
Anyway,
Best
Hailee,
friend
before you
Todd
leave,
Tell.
I know. Before you leave, I know.
He's ambassador of Quan. What is wrong with you?
I know. I messed up. I read your article recently about the MLB lockout. So we have a little bit more time before you leave before we get to our next segment. So I just want to say, just give you a couple minutes. Now today, MLB lockout did not really go that great. They have the deadline now, February 28th. So what are your thoughts real briefly before you leave us?
Yeah, so if you would have asked me this question last week, my answer would be completely different. But after today, I think that we're not going to get a full 162 game schedule. We're not starting on time. It's a mess. It's a mess, especially with like them not agreeing to even have a mediator in there. Like it's a mess. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, without the mediator, I think that's really tough. I think it's the second time the players rejected the mediator too, which isn't great. And then this deadline, they said if it comes Monday and there's no deal in place, we're losing baseball. A couple games at least here and there, and there's not going to be 162 games. Players lose out, they lose their money, and the fans lose out on a great product. I enjoy baseball. I love baseball. I don't know about how if baseball's your number one sport or not. I know me and Nick, big baseball fans, but it sucks to lose baseball anytime it happens.
Oh, it absolutely sucks. We should be watching baseball right now. We should have baseball content. We should be excited for the season to start. And I'm everything but excited.
Yeah, I agree with you. And speaking of bringing enjoyment and excitement to the law, here we have a comment here from Ladarius Brown. He enjoyed this conversation with Sports Law, so thank you very much.
That's your buddy.
Hey, LB.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening. And Hailee, thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll discuss soon because we'll try to figure out when we're in Nashville. See if you want to join. I know you're not a beer connoisseur, but maybe you might have to taste some beer with us while we're out there.
I will happily do it for y'all. Hey, whiskey moonshine, I'm your girl.
All right, perfect.
So if you can't find me in Nashville, I'll be the guy that looks like me with a cowboy hat on.
Oh, great. Don't forget the jorts. Remember, I know you're not into those, but
listen, I am not Stone Cold Steve Austin. I do not wear jorts. If I do wear jorts, they're going to be Daisy Dukes.
I have a belt buckle that's about this big. Is that?
You have to bring it. You have to bring it.
Yeah, like I'm a Texas hillbilly. You can't wear that shit unless you earned it. Ask my cousins about it. All right, you can't wear that shit unless you earned it.
In Nashville, we're all fake hillbillies. So,
but you know what though? I've been in Nashville before. All the women look like Hailee.
We're all blonde.
Everybody's blonde. I've never seen a larger collection of blonde women in my life.
Yep, we're all blonde.
Terrifying.
And Hailee, more than half of us aren't really blonde. We're fake blondes.
Well, Hailee, thank you for joining us. Everybody, you can find Hailee at the Hailee Murphy. And that's Hail with 2 E's, Hailee Murphy. And we also will find you on Belly Up Sports, the blog, stuff like that. So you'll be there as well. So it's great having you on. We do appreciate it. We're going to take a small break, and we will be bringing back our intern Sal and then our last and final guest. So thank you so much.
Clap it up for Big Murph.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. It's that guy Sal talking a little NBA, National Basketball Association. Talk to us, Sal.
Well, did you guys see any of the All-Star Game weekend? Any of this stuff?
No.
Yeah, I caught a lot of what's this guy's name?
Obi Toppin?
The defensive end from the Myles Garrett. I caught a lot of Myles Garrett.
Oh, the celebrity game.
Getting block calls, and I was sitting there going, "Who the hell is standing in front of Myles Garrett? Like trying to take a charge."
No one is. Imagine MGK.
Is he Myles Garrett or Garrett Miles? Myles Garrett.
I think
Myles
Garrett. Yeah.
Haley's gonna beat me up over this shit.
Yeah, MGK would get in his way and take a charge from Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett is what Zion Williamson wishes he was.
He was a beast in that game. That's the only thing I really saw. And I saw a couple Obi Toppin dunks, but I heard the dunk show wasn't that great now. So Phil said All-Star Weekend. The dud, or was it good? What do you think?
Dunk contest was absolutely horrible. It was the worst one I've ever seen. I've never seen more guys miss a dunk in my life.
I saw people looking at their phones.
I saw. Did you see Shaq? Did you see the meme of Shaq?
Yeah, and
he was just like, "Oh my God, get me out of here! I need to leave." Like it was a disaster.
Somebody said when Blake Griffin jumped over the car, it was over.
No,
They were
2006.
there was no place left to go, is what they said, which is bullshit. Because the following year, I believe, somebody freaking killed it. Maybe last year, actually, somebody
The
killed it.
last,
Sorry, you
the
go ahead.
last
Sal.
good, the last good dunk contest was when in 2016 with Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. That was
the one. That was the one.
That was the best one. And after that, they have just sucked since then. It's went downhill since then.
Wasn't there
But
a second one with Aaron Gordon where he was awesome in it and he lost again?
Yes,
He had two of them.
I forgot who he lost to though.
Aaron Gordon is the best dunk contest contestant ever to never win a dunk contest championship.
Oh, 100%. 100. He might be the best ever other than Vince Carter. Vince Carter, I think.
Yeah, well, Vince Carter was awesome.
But Obi won that. At least the Knicks win something. Sorry, but
Give him a banner. I'm waiting for the banner ceremony.
Knicks are going to put a banner up tomorrow. I guess if anybody had to win that, I guess it should have been Obi. So at least they got that right. But yeah, not too impressed with the dunk contest. The 3-point contest is always fun. I enjoyed it. Cat won. Karl Anthony Towns.
Wow.
Surprise.
That's surprising.
Oh, that was a big surprise. I was like, at first I was like, what is he doing in the 3-point contest? And then I was like, wow, he's actually good. He did a good job. He got like 29 points. So he did pretty good. The All-Star game itself was all right. You know, they have a new format now where they have to, each quarter, whoever wins each quarter wins money for charity. So at least like the last 2 minutes, you see the guys trying. Like it's not, the first like 8 minutes, they're just dunking and going. Nobody's playing defense. They're just shooting threes from half court. So, it wasn't too bad.
And in the fourth quarter, they played at 24, right?
No, they went to 163. The target score was 163.
But is it 24 points from like whatever? Wasn't that what it was or no?
I think so. Honor Kobe. Yeah, I think they do 24.
24. Yeah,
they do 24. The fourth quarter was the most exciting part because they don't have it. It wasn't timed.
Yeah, they could just keep going back and forth, play defense.
They just keep going, and of course, LeBron got the last shot and won it for his team. I knew that was going to happen in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Steph
After he
Curry
burned their city down, he has to get his rights or his glory moment.
And he got it.
He did get it.
He got it. Steph Curry went off in this game. He got 50 points.
Wow.
And a record 16 threes in the game.
Wow.
And obviously he was the MVP.
Yeah.
And during the game I tweeted this. I was like, Steph Curry's the best shooter I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Without question.
He's best shooter I have ever seen. He probably will go down as one of the best.
Well, he is. I think he is going to go down as the best.
He definitely will. The best part about this weekend was they honored the greatest players in the last 75 years. It's the 75th anniversary of the NBA. Right. And they honored all the greats. They brought them all out during halftime. You saw Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Magic Johnson, Allen Iverson. The list goes on. And I thought that was pretty cool.
I caught that and I actually looked at the list. And like a third of the 75 played in the last like 15 to 18 years.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I noticed that.
Apparently, the guys that played and started this game, they sucked. Like ultimately that's what it was. Well, maybe that's because they weren't all 6'8". Maybe that's why they sucked, because they were all like 5'11".
No,
and that's why
there's some guys that
was very recently biased. There are guys that are like in the middle of their career and they're like, yeah, they're top 75. Really? They're top 75. If they died tomorrow, they probably wouldn't even make the Hall of Fame.
I think James Harden was in that, right? James Harden's not his career's not done.
James Harden.
Giannis Antetokounmpo was in it.
Kevin Durant, right? Kevin Durant's in it?
Yeah. Guys that are still in the middle of their career.
Damian Lillard was in it.
Damian Lillard was in it.
I think they just did it because it was like one of those things where it's like, well, let's get the fans who are currently with us
I get that, but over a third of the people, like,
No,
really?
I don't agree with that. I mean, if you did the
Played in the
MLB
last
right now,
15 years?
if you were to do like a top 100, let's say MLB players, you're not using a third of the teams. A third of them are not going to be from the last 15 years.
Absolutely.
If you were to go back 100 years, a third of them wouldn't even be within the last 30 years.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's let alone, and mind you, 30 years out of 100 is roughly a third.
Yeah.
I think
the greatest of the baseball players played in the first 50 years.
Yeah, I know.
I think they made this list more of a popularity contest, kind of.
Absolutely,
I agree.
It was just kind of like, okay, who can we get to come and add star power to the All-Star game weekend?
A lot of rhinestones, not too many diamonds.
Yeah, and there were some snubs too, like Vince Carter. Vince Carter wasn't on the list.
That's
ridiculous.
Vince Carter is
crazy. He had his own shoe.
He should have been there. Tracy McGrady wasn't there. Tracy McGrady, another snub.
Oh, that's a bad one. That's a bad one too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, besides that, NBA doesn't come back to when? Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow. The Nets have the Celtics tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
I can imagine that. TJ doesn't know what to do with himself right now. There's no NBA.
All right. Well, moving on to our favorite segment. Does Gen Z know?
Yes.
I didn't do so good last week, so let's see what you got for me.
Got the rotary phone though. That was pretty.
That's right. I did. But I was
because most kids your age probably do not know what rotary phone is.
I was embarrassed on the Full House one. And what I said, I said Full House and it was Family Matters. Oh,
well, you also said Family Tides, which is also Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, that's another one.
It's Family Ties, man.
Oh, there is Tides.
It's Ties.
Ties.
I don't know. Here we go. There's the music. All right. Now, so we got one. We're going to talk to you about it, and the other one we're going to do is a video clue. Again, we're going to go back to 90s themes. Thank you for the reminder, Sal.
No problem.
All right, let me get the. All right, Sal. When I say the letters and number of Y2K, what do you think of?
I think of Chris Jericho at first.
Y2J. Well, why was Y2J called Y2J?
Yeah,
because of the they thought the computers were going to explode or something like that. That was his debut.
Give it to him.
He actually debuted like 6 months prior to Y2K.
That's the only reason I know that, because of Chris Jericho.
So Y2K. For anybody that knows computers, Y2K is a situation where they were unsure of how
Here's a couple
computers
images.
would be able to equate having 00 as the calendar, which I thought was kind of stupid, only because computers work on ones and zeros. A 00 at the end, it only shows you 00. 2000 is still the number. It's not 000000. I imagine if it was the year 0, which there is no such thing, that would have caused a larger problem than 2000. But a lot of suckers bought computers because they were Y2K compatible.
But look at this. Look at this. This I pulled up. I looked back some old images about Y2K. Best Buy had to remember you, to remind you. Having a little remember.
Wow.
Turn your computer off before midnight on December 31st, 99.
That's
crazy. One. We also have here the effort versus Y2K cities preparing for the worst.
Wow.
So
I didn't think it was this serious.
It was a very serious. People were like survival preparing to the point where they created this book, the Y2K Personal Survival Kit. So I mean, this is like people really thought that the world was either going to end or some shit was just going to happen, natural disasters, and planes are going to fall out of the sky and all the computers are going to be messed up. My sister, shout out to Gina. She probably like this. I tell the story, but she was like telling my parents like stock up on like cans, like food. Like she was all in on Y2K and was like, we have to prepare. We don't know what's gonna happen. And then it happened, and we're like, see, Gina, you were crazy about this for nothing. So
that was all a ploy to get people to buy new computers.
Probably.
Of course it was. All right.
Because what dropped right before that? Windows 2000.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Thanks, Chris Jericho, for that one. I would have gotten it wrong if it wasn't.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you would, because you were born in 99. You wouldn't have known. And when's your birthday? You just passed in February, so right?
Yeah, February 11th.
You were like, what, 10 months old when it happened? So you wouldn't have remembered. So I thought I'd stump you, Sal, but you got me. You got me.
I got you on that one. What else
Next
you got?
one.
All right, here we go. Guess this theme song.
Uh-oh. That's such a generic theme song.
It is not generic.
It's kind of generic. There's no words in it.
Play it exactly. That's the whole point.
Can you put
hold on and play it again, but don't put up the graphic.
I can't do that.
You disgust me.
That's the way the program works.
Give me some hints.
But here it is, right here. Look, this is the hint. Me doing that little wrist motion. That was the hint. Me going.
Every 90s person that's watching this, which is like all 5 of them, they're all like, God damn it. These kids don't know great television.
All right, so he doesn't know. Show us that answer, Rook.
All right, here is the answer. I had to wait for the glasses part, though.
I've heard of that show. I would have never. We would have sat here all night. I would have never gotten it. But
that was a huge part of the 90s.
That was amazing.
I've actually Jungle Boy's dad, R.I.P. Luke Perry.
Yeah, R.I.P. Luke Perry.
Really?
My wife, we love that show. We actually, when we started dating, we rewatched it. Like she had the DVDs of it. We rewatched Beverly Hills 90210. Amazing show.
I have it on the Plex.
I've heard of that.
Oh, I have to go back and watch it on the Plex then. It's amazing.
But Jungle Boy from AEW. His dad
I was just about to say, yeah.
That's what Matt just said. So,
I believe his name is Jack Perry.
What is that?
I believe his name is Jack Perry.
Jungle Boy. Yeah,
his real name is Jack
Perry. Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny because I'm pretty sure Luke Perry's character's father's name was Jack. On 90210, Luke Perry, his dad's name was Jack.
I believe
he was Jack. He was Dylan, and his father was he was like Dylan McSomething, and his father was Jack
Dylan McKay.
McKay, there he goes. I'm pretty sure his dad was Jack McKay.
All right. So now this brings us to our third and final guest. We have what is intern Sal's, what is it? Brainchild? Is that the word?
His brainchild.
The WWE Scoreboard Addicts Wrestling Trivia. And we'd like to welcome on Mr. Matt O'Day from At the Squared Circle.
It's me, Austin. Hopefully that's an answer. But
hey, Matt.
Ready?
Oh, he's got his paper out. He's ready.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for joining us today. We do have, let's see, we're going to do something a little different this time. So last time we all showed on the paper, but it doesn't really work for a podcast because there's a lot of audio.
That's true,
none of us were given the answer, and then Sal was telling us that we were right or wrong. So for this week, we are going to write our answers down, but then also say them out loud.
So I've got one question for you, Matt.
Are you ready?
We'll find out.
All right, Matt, you're a little low. If you could turn up the volume a little bit. There you go. Whatever you just did.
Okay. Is that good?
It might be your beard is muffling the sound to your microphone.
It could be. I'm sorry.
Why don't you
look
take
around
your
your
nose? Try using the computer speaker.
They don't work.
Oh,
yeah.
Live TV, everybody.
Yes, we're doing
All
it.
right. I'm not mad, but I'm not happy.
Just disappointed.
Can you hear me, or is it still a little low?
That's better.
No, we got you now.
Better.
That's way better now.
All right.
All right. So, Sal,
All right, is everybody ready?
number one.
All right. Reminder: questions are 2 points each. Final question: we do a Final Jeopardy. Wager your points. So last week Nick won. So let's see if he keeps the streak alive.
He's the champion. Oh, wait, how many questions? We got 5?
5.
All right. And Final Jeopardy
right,
is the 6th or 5? The 5th is Final Jeopardy.
Fifth question. It's the 5th question.
Okay. And then there will
Final
be partial
Jeopardy.
credit if there's 1 or 2 answers, correct?
Did you believe this shit, Matt?
Yes.
They conned me into doing this partial credit bullshit.
I don't
Your
think
answer's
we're going to
either
get
right
partial credit.
or it's wrong.
I
And The
agree.
Rock says you are wrong. Know your role and shut your mouth.
All right, Sal, let's go. Question
All right.
number
Question
1.
1. Who was the first ever hardcore champion?
I have no idea.
Are we shouting it out or are we writing it down?
Write it down, then you
Write
can
it
say
down
out.
and then
Yeah.
So are you ready, Rook?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, what you got, Rook?
I got Ric Flair.
No. No.
Close.
What you got, Nick?
My handwriting is abysmal, but it says Mankind, a.k.a.
That's right.
Mick Foley.
What you got, Matt? Mankind.
Mankind.
All right. All
No,
right.
you have to say it.
He did.
Mankind.
No, but after Sal already said it. You
Yeah,
gotta say it
no,
beforehand.
it's. I'll say, yeah, okay. I got you.
All right.
All right. Question number 2. I'm already behind.
All right. Question 2. After WCW ended, Ric Flair came back to WWE in 2002. Who did he wrestle in his first match back?
Can you repeat the question?
After WCW ended, Ric Flair came back to WWE in 2002. Who did he wrestle during his first match back?
God damn it. So wrong. I'll go first. The Rock.
Nah.
I love this answer.
So I'm not entirely sure because I stopped watching once they started bringing back people's grandpas to wrestle. I'm going to say Hogan.
No.
All right.
Mr. McMahon at the Royal
Matt's
Rumble.
got it.
Wow.
Matt
Like I
got
said,
it.
grandpas. I knew there was going to be somebody's grandpa. I just wasn't sure who.
I was thinking like somebody older, and then I was like, maybe it was like somebody who was young and they did The Rock. I was gonna pick McMahon. I would have been right. It would have been such a lucky
Ric Flair is
guess.
the reason why I stopped watching wrestling in 2002.
That would have been epic if you would have picked McMahon.
All right, Sal.
All
Here
right.
we go.
Question 3. Ready? Which 2 former wrestlers had the gimmick of being Mr. McMahon's Stooges during the Attitude Era?
Fuck. I don't know any of it. Stooges.
Mhm.
Oh, I have
They had the
no
gimmick
idea.
of being the Stooges.
I'll just say my answer because I know it's wrong. I put the Mean Street Posse.
Easy there, Pete Gas.
That's his name, Pete Gas.
That's you. That's your friggin' twin. The first intercontinental champion, Pat Patterson, and owner of Briscoe Brothers Automotive Company, Gerald Briscoe.
You got it.
I have the same thing, Patterson and Briscoe. I love Nick's intro to them though, so spot on.
Listen, they're the Stooges, but let's show them a little respect. Pat Patterson was the first intercontinental champion and the first
R.I.P.
locker room openly
Yes.
gay wrestler.
So, if I get this wrong, I don't get to participate in Final Jeopardy, right? Because I have no points.
Well, we got one more question before Final Jeopardy.
Yeah, but if I get
Question
it wrong,
4.
I'm not going to be able to be in Final Jeopardy. if I
Well,
can't
get it
win.
right.
Yeah, so get it right.
I believe in you.
I can't.
Yeah,
Is
we
it
don't.
easy style? Come on. I'm not really a big hardcore wrestler.
We'll see. All right. So right now, Rook with 0, Nick has 4, and Matt has 6 in the lead. All right. Now, question 4: what pay-per-view had the classic Hell in a Cell match between The Undertaker and Mankind? Got to name the pay-per-view.
God. I'll just go first. I said No Way Out.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure this is wrong, but I'm saying Survivor Series.
Nope.
King of the Ring.
Matt's got a King of the Ring,
Wow,
1998.
Dominated. I went 0 for 4, so I cannot participate in Final Jeopardy, but I'll still give an answer, even though it's going to be wrong.
All right.
I just want to point out
yeah.
2002. I was busy trying to hook up with chicks. Matt was wearing a Yankee hat and watching wrestling. I know this because we went to high school together and I saw him wearing the same Yankee hat for 3 years at least.
Nothing about what Nick said is false.
All right, so Nick has 4, Matt has 8, and unfortunately, Rook has nothing. Rook, you still get to play this round?
Yeah, I'll play, but I'm obviously I can't.
All right.
No shout out winning here. I feel like TJ now in every trivia show we do.
All right, I try to make the 5th question the hardest, but we'll see. We'll see. All right.
Did we wager or?
Before you give your
wager
answer, before you give your answer, just wager or whatever it is.
Yeah, wager first, and then we'll ask the question. Okay. All right. Who wrestled in the main event during the first ever episode of SmackDown?
Wait, hold on. Just to clarify, are we talking about the special that happened in April, or are we talking about the episode that happened in August?
Episode that happened in August.
All right. Thank you. That's just a class because there were 2 different. There was SmackDown, the special from UPN that was in like April or March.
Yeah,
and then there was a debut of SmackDown as a regular series show in August.
So I said I was gonna, give an answer. I'm just not.
I don't All right, we ready?
I don't know if this is right, but I'm going to wager 4 points, and I'm going to say Triple H versus The Rock.
That is right.
Wow.
You got it.
I wagered all my points, and I did the same thing. And I put this HBK was the ref.
And I sent him the gift today. Son of a bitch.
I had a little twinkle in my smile when I heard that question.
Oh, you bastard.
Well,
I have a question though for you, Matt. I mean, you're a wrestling podcast, right? You're doing wrestling over at the Squared Circle, but by the way, just clap it up for Matt. I tip my cap to you, sir.
You champion.
All right, tip my cap. You got to be a little proud of me that I know that there were 2 debuts of SmackDown.
You know, that was going to be my question because I wasn't sure, and you asked that question because. All right, so what was the other main event then? Do you remember?
Wow, I honestly don't remember. I just saw
Ken Shamrock.
I just saw this literally last week because I'm watching all the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So I started from
Ken
90.
Shamrock in that one though.
I don't remember.
I mean, Ken Shamrock had internal bleeding that entire year, so tough to say.
It was Triple H and Undertaker versus The Rock and Stone Cold when the corporate ministry formed.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, I love it was me, Austin. And so just real quick, but Matt and I were talking earlier this week, and I said Cody Rhodes is I don't know if it's legitimate or if it's kayfabe, but Cody Rhodes is leaving AEW. I'm not into wrestling in today's world. I'm an Attitude Era guy. I don't like PG wrestling. I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't care to watch Ugly Bailey swinging around the ring. I don't care to watch Shinsuke Nakamura look like he's going to touch a little kid in the crowd. He's like the Michael Jackson Japanese wrestler. Like that's what I see when I see Nakamura. But something about Cody Rhodes is leaving AEW allegedly. And I told Matt, I said, I'm waiting for Tony Khan to pull off his mask and reveal Vince McMahon underneath and go, it was me, Cody. Unleashing the largest and longest and most costly work in the history of professional wrestling. But it probably won't happen.
That is funny. That is pretty funny.
But that would have been great. Matt, I don't know if you saw the disclaimer on the bottom of the ticker.
I see it. Thank you. Yeah.
You got to watch it. You got to read it from the beginning.
Oh, read my name, Matt O'Day. That's me. Hello.
Uh-huh.
Well, no, not that part. Well, while you read it, because it's going to be a while for you to read it, we'll go into some quick, brief New York Rangers talk.
So, yeah, we can talk about the Rangers a little bit. Right now, certain things. I mean, for me at least, as a Ranger fan, I feel like the one constant throughout this season, up to this point, and we're just coming off of a victory, and then a loss in overtime. Coming off the break, one constant you're going to hear from Turk at the end of games is, I don't think you've seen our best hockey. And by God, I love that mindset because unless you're winning every game, by a large margin. If you really don't believe in your team, then if you don't believe in your team, then you're sitting there saying, "Oh, we're putting out," you're doing the Aaron Boone, I saw a lot of good things out there. Nobody else can see the good things. The Joe Judge, the Aaron Boone. I saw a lot of good things out there. Nobody else sees it. You lost, so nobody saw anything good.
Yeah.
But Turk comes out every night, even when they win, and goes, "I still think we suck."
Yeah,
I still see things that I have a problem with, and that's how you make a winner.
Yeah.
You don't make a winner sitting there. It's like again, it's like Coach O'Ryan, right? The only thing on your mind should be goose eggs. 0. Oh, well, we won. So who gives a shit? What about the goal you gave up? That was a bullshit goal. Stuff like that. That's how you get better. Perfection is the only thing on your mind. And that seems to be Turk's message to the team, and I love it.
Well, I was going to say,
I
was going to ask you. So one of the 3 names I keep hearing for trades right now, the trade deadline I didn't realize for NHL is actually not till March 26th. There's a lot of time left.
About 30 days away.
Yeah. It's quite some time away. But so big names, obviously Georgiev, Kretsov, and I believe Lundqvist are coming up in a lot of trade talks. Kretsov, obviously, we know the situation with Kretsov where he's not, there's no, he doesn't like the relationship.
He's playing in Russia.
He's playing in Russia. He's playing well in Russia too. So he's kind of a good. As long as he wants to play in North America, he's a good, chip piece to move. So is there any expectation? I mean, obviously the Rangers are going to be buyers. So
obviously there's been a lot of conversation about JT Miller, and we talked about this. TJ and I talked about this in depth like a week ago. But it seems to be that I saw a list today on Twitter, and it said it showed 3 players or 4 players. I can't remember who they were off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But it said teams to be interested, and the Rangers were in all 4. Pretty much the Rangers are in on every player in the NHL right now. If you're in the NHL and you have a player and you're not in the playoffs, you're in. The Rangers are looking for a player from your franchise. It's really a question about who they're willing to give up to get that player. And somebody like Nils Lundqvist, Kravtsov, they're people that they may move on from. A lot of Ranger fans are talking about Kakko. I just don't see it. I mean, is the kid lighting it up right now? No, he's injured right now. Okay.
Yeah,
but he's 21 years old. What is he? Almost 22 or just turned 22. Like,
number 2
they make
overall.
it seem like he's so old that we should just give up on the guy. I mean, it's not. Do you really want him to end up being great someplace else like Miller and then having to trade for him back at a higher value than what you could have just mentored and made him into?
And I also think that I thought he was playing well before his injury too. Like he wasn't playing horrible. He was
great
improving.
defense.
He was getting there. He's only 22. He's number 2 overall pick after Jack Hughes. And he was getting there. He's getting to the point where he's finally progressing. We're finally seeing what we drafted, a few years ago. And now it's like his name's coming all the trade talks, which is obviously a good piece to move. But is it someone that we could possibly use to make this cup run this year or even next year? Because I mean,
the question is, unless you're trading for that guy, that Jack Eichel, right?
Yeah.
If you're trading for an Eichel, if you're trading for a McDavid, then yes, give up the farm. That's fine. But if you're trading for a piece, are you that piece from a Stanley Cup victory? Not a playoff appearance, not a Stanley Cup appearance, a Stanley Cup victory. And that's the question. And all the names that are in question, no, they are not the guy that's going to bring a Stanley Cup to New York. So they're a piece that could help down the road, but this year they're not going to make such an impact that we're in the Stanley Cup.
So I'm going to throw out one name for you, Joe Pavelski. What do you feel about him coming over to the Rangers?
Definitely.
I wish TJ was here for this because I feel like TJ.
Listen. A lot of the names that are available, to include Pavelski, are good to bring, and they're players. 100%, they are players. Are their ceilings higher than somebody like Kakko? That's tough to say today.
Yeah,
today it's hard to say,
of course.
But when you're talking about bringing somebody in right now and you're mortgaging the future to win today, pulling a St. Louis Rams, if you will, fuck them picks, then it has to be a guaranteed W. Like, excuse me, the Los Angeles Rams. But point being is that if the Los Angeles Rams lost the Super Bowl this year and they suck for the next 8 years because they gave away everything, would it have been worth it? If they would have got bounced out in the first round of the playoffs, would it have been worth it?
I don't think so.
Because unless the Rangers trade for fucking Connor McDavid, that's a possibility. So that's my point. Even to include Pavelski, like unless you're getting somebody like Connor McDavid or somebody like Jack Eichel, somebody who's a top 5 player in the league, they are not making that much of a difference to the team right now to guarantee us a Stanley Cup victory. And you just don't want to be caught in a situation with like JT Miller or what TJ said last week with damn it, I can't remember the name right now. It escapes me. It's a 90s name. I don't
remember either.
I'm just having I'm on medication and I've been drinking. But yeah, I don't see that happening. I see them trading somebody like Nils Lundqvist. I see them trading somebody like Kravtsov, even Georgiev, and which I can't stand Georgiev. He infuriates me to a level that I don't even want to go to.
I think Kravtsov has to go. Like you're not using him.
Oh, he's disgruntled. He's
disgruntled. He's not happy here. He didn't want to go to the AHL. He didn't want to play at the Wolfpack anymore. I mean, there's younger guys who, you look at Brandon Schneider. He was in the Wolfpack. He got his opportunity to play. Kravtsov went to the Wolfpack. He might be playing the NHL right now, but he's not happy with the Rangers. So you have to just get rid of him. I think Drury's looking for the move, and I think whatever move he makes to Kravtsov is going to be something that benefits the Rangers at this point.
Absolutely, I concur. I think the Rangers are maybe two pieces away from a deep playoff run, but unless they get somebody like McDavid, they're not getting a guaranteed Stanley Cup appearance, let alone victory. But they could do it in a year or two with the core that they have, provided that they keep that core. I think the more interesting news for this week is that the Rangers are playing the Capitals at home for the first time this season this week. And today, the media asked Chris Kreider about his conversation with Tom Wilson at the All-Star game. They said, hey, we saw you kind of buddy with Tom Wilson at the All-Star game. How hard is that to turn on and off once you're playing a game? And you know what? Kreider gave a perfect answer. All personal lives are personal, but we are all professionals. You have respect for professionals. Once the puck drops, though, the only friends you have wear the same jersey as you. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said.
Yeah, it's excellent.
And people say, well, the Rangers are over it, and that might be very well true. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room like some of our friends might be, or once were. But Ryan Reeves was also on the shelf the last time we played the Caps. So Ryan Reeves ain't on the shelf anymore, and Tom Wilson lives in fear of Ryan Reeves. So I guess we'll see what. And you know what? The Rangers faithful, the blue shirt faithful, they're gonna want to see something. I think. I wouldn't mind seeing Tom Wilson get his face bashed in.
Yeah, I agree.
And then seeing Reeves go and take off his jersey and go just as a fuck you to Tom Wilson. I don't really think about Tom Wilson except for when we play the Capitals.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think of Ovechkin either until we play the Capitals. Although Ovechkin's an all-time great. But yeah, I think that's the big deal. We're playing a lot of original 6 teams in the next couple weeks. We played the Detroit Red Wings last week. TJ was blaming John T. McGinley, for our loss to the Red Wings last week. I don't know how his being friends with Chris Chelios causes them to beat the Rangers, but whatever, it is what it is. He's entitled to his opinion. But we play a lot of original 6 teams coming up over the next 30 days, and a lot of teams within our own division, and it's really going to determine who wins the Metro. And we'll see what happens. I think the Rangers' main focus is not even winning the Metro right now. It's going to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Make the playoffs, try to make a run. Be one of those like Cinderella teams. People don't expect it, but here we are. We're in the cup. But Rangers fans are hungry for that cup. So hopefully we get to see it eventually. But I think that's about it for the show. I mean, we're gonna bring back Matt real quick. Matt, tell us where you're at. I know you got the squared circle. It's kind of like a wrestling meme page that you run. Tell us, where else we could find you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter too. You had the little banner up there.
There you go.
And then I just pretty much it's just for fun right now. And I actually sell. You can't. I mean, you can see it if you have the video, but I sell wrestling merchandise, open figures, closed figures on Whatnot. So I post that on Twitter, so you could catch the links on there. And if you're not a member of Whatnot, there'll be a link to where if you sign up, you get $10, I get $10, everybody wins. So that's a couple of things I got going.
You also sell the Funkos.
Yes, I do have those too, the Funkos as well. It's a lot. I do have a lot of things that I'm moving, and
that or Whatnot, it will be on the T² circle, correct? Is that...
Yeah, I'm gonna post the link up there. I may even just pin it. There you go, brainstorming. I'll pin it on there, and you guys can check out what I'm doing.
All right, cool, Matt. Well, we appreciate you coming on for some wrestling trivia. Good luck with your Whatnot.
Oh,
and your,
I love it.
At the Squared Circle. Maybe we'll have you on again. You're now the reigning champion. I guess.
You can't have no Shawn Michaels shenanigans with Razor Ramon. I feel like, I'm ready to defend.
I say next week we bring back Joe Sikoa like the fake Diesel because they kind of look alike with the beard and the glasses.
I always said that. We should see. I don't know if Joe does wrestling trivia. We should bring them both back for wrestling trivia, but
we'll just pretend Joe is Matt.
Yeah. All right, Matt. We do appreciate it. Why don't you hang around because we're gonna end the show soon, and then we could hang arout, chat real quick. But all right, everybody else. We just want to say thank you again to Andrew Leduc. I always say Leduc. I think everyone says Leduc.
It's Leduc. Freaking animal.
Leduc from the Davidson Pivots. Thank you for joining us for the PGA Talk. TJ, thank you for joining us as well, all the way from the Atlantic Ocean.
Stop. Hold on. You can't thank our fellow co-host for showing up on our show. You're really trying to fucking just get him off the show, aren't you?
No, because he came from the Atlantic Ocean. He came from the
Thank you, Hailee, Big Murphy. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you to Hailee Murphy for coming on talking law with us. Big show. I think we did a pretty good job getting through everything. I don't think we listed anything. All right. Next time we're editing this.
I'm just going to take out the last 10 minutes I talked.
Yeah, well, Sal, thank you for your Does Gen Z Know, your wrestling trivia, and your NBA knowledge. We do appreciate you watching the All-Star game, unlike 90% of the population.
I didn't.
For everybody here with us, thank you for joining us here at the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. We appreciate you being with us, and we'll see you again next week.
This is the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. Starring Nick, TJ, and the Rook. Our shows are for the average sports fan who likes drinking, talking sports, and talking shit. We cover all sports from the MLB to the NHL and everything in between, as well as review movies and discuss pop culture.
Dude, he wouldn't be in the NFL if he couldn't play at this level. All right? You get this. Good day. I can't believe you just said that. It was the stupidest thing I've heard you say in weeks. All right?
Say he can never play at this level?
I never heard.
You're ruining the magic.
That's a really interesting point.
We all know shady underground places that give massages and happy endings. And does it not seem out of the realm of possibility?
It's an embarrassment. I think fans are tired. We could the clown show organization. Guess what, Joe? It is
still a man sport. This is still hockey. Step the fuck up. He's looking. I don't know why, but he looked at me. I'm looking at you. I see him looking at me. He goes. He's trying to eat it real low key.
Join us on BellyUp.tv on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. for our movie reviews, and on Saturdays at 7 p.m. for our standard sports talk show.
Oh yeah. Stay rock.